Oh no! You're kidding!
Hi.
Hey, you guys.
Hi.
James just turned us on. We're on Facebook Live. And I said, James, are you going to turn on the Instagram? And he said, no, it's been on for a while. I can't believe what we just talked about.
We were all chatting. We were chatting. It's all good. Don't worry. Hi, everyone.
This is Rhona. Rhona Beaumont has been with us before. Rhona was one of our
Yeah.
first guests in like November.
I think it was November. I think you'd just been running them for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So hadn't been very long.
Rhona was one of our first guests, and then when did we do that show?
We did the show at the end of November.
Oh, so
beginning of December.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What was
so
that show called?
Spirit and Soul event at the Glamorgan Community Centre.
Yes.
So it was
And
fun.
that, so you do one in the fall and one in the spring.
Yeah, we do it twice a year. It's the fourth year actually of running it now.
Mm-hmm.
We do it twice a year. It's all local. The local community come in. All the vendors are spiritual healers and readers and products. So all of those people are here.
Just a second.
Oh, I'm just getting a feedback on my own
Hang on.
iPhone. That's funny. Might have to turn the sound down. Oh my goodness, how funny is that? There really is a delay. There we go. That's just gonna.
A little technology.
Oh, that's
Thank
funny.
you.
The echo of spirit.
Yeah.
So we do it twice a year. The summer, and the next one is going to be June 23rd, and we were just chatting about that one, because it's going to be around the summer equinox. And it's a totally free event. We support the Women in Need Society, so we'll be taking donations for women in need, and we'll have speakers there, like we did last time. We're going to open up the courtyard for some fun
It's a
activities.
great venue.
And yeah,
It
it's
really
a
is.
beautiful venue. I know, we love that
Especially with
place.
that place in the back. What's it called?
The Glam Shack.
Yeah,
the
the
Glam
Glam
Shack is where we have all the speakers, that beautiful hexagonal room where you can sit and listen to speeches on all sorts of topics. And yeah.
So I was just saying to Rhona a couple of minutes ago that was our first time to be at her event.
Yeah.
And what was different about it was like family. It was like, most of the people who came knew Rhona, or were friends with people who knew Rhona, or so how many people came? Like 500?
Yeah, it was close to 500, which tends to be our number.
500 of Rhona's closest friends.
We were hanging out.
And some of them bought our meditation stools and stuff like that. They really liked them, and then all the vendors were also like part of your family.
Yeah, we have such a great vendor community, and they all come, like every single show, they all come and support us. And we do a healing circle. We come together at the beginning and we do a little bit of a meditation and a chant and a gratitude for the space. So we do very much want to connect as a community, right?
Well,
and be part of a tribe.
You don't want to, you do.
You do, yeah. That is definitely part of our ethos, is to support. So if someone is looking for something, you'll find the vendor, say, oh, you'll go find that on so-and-so's table. Yeah, I think they have what you're looking for. So it's very much that, like,
Supportive.
we're all working. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I've
all
never
working
been actually
together.
to a show that had the connection that I saw with
lovely.
all the vendors, and it was clear that many of the people who came, it wasn't their first show too.
Yeah.
They've been before, and so there was lots of hanging out and conversation. And
I know.
It's like a social thing.
It is true. The clients often say, oh, I've been here for like 3 hours. I don't know how that time has gone. Because once they get there, I'm going to have a little bit of a mini healing, then I'm going to have a reading, and I'm going to do a talk, and then I'm going to walk around the fair. So people stay for a long time.
So in June, you're going to have speakers as well?
Yes, we're going to have speakers in June. We're just lining that up.
Again?
I will definitely line you up again. No problem.
I've been speaking more, and it's kind of going in a direction I didn't imagine.
Yeah.
And
it's powerful.
Yeah. So
it's powerful when you open up that voice and speak, and it's very powerful. So
I'm doing a talk recently, or coming up shortly at a business dinner.
Yeah, nice.
And and I'm going to talk about being present.
Right. Yes.
And the tools like meditation, gratitude, prayer, all tools of becoming present. And that when we're present, we access the power of the universe.
Yeah,
when we're
It's so true. It's so true. And doing that is great because that community know it, but they want to hear it and they want someone else to say, oh, encourage them to move down that path. So that's great that you're doing that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I actually have it as a vision to do a lot of
those sorts of things.
Those sort of things.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
So, what else do you do? You have these 2 events.
Yeah, I've also got another event, out at Lake Louise. I'm actually running a competition. We should put the link in for a free place. I did mention that to you. We're doing an event in May 2nd and 3rd with an amazing spiritual leader, a lady called of May, called Diana Cooper, is coming out from the UK.
Oh, yeah.
And she is incredible. She wrote her first book, I think, back in the 1970s. She's 78 years old, on the spiritual laws. So she's been in this game, if you like, want to call it that, for a very long time. She does a lot of work with Atlantis, and so we're going to Lake Louise, which is the home of the Archangel Michael Vortex. So we're going to be doing some energy work there, and then we've got a lady called Martha who's from Amaryllis Crystal Bowl, who's doing a sound bath on the terrace on the outside the hotel over the lake, with the largest number of practitioners we can fit into that space.
Wow.
So it's going to be incredible. The sound, you can imagine, over the lake is going to be amazing. Thursday, May 2nd and Friday, May 3rd. And we're doing a competition at the moment for people to win a free spot. I'll put all the details in the comments place for you to do that. So we've got 2-day package you can do, or you could just do 1 day. And so that's fun. I'm excited to see her. She's incredible lady and so strong in terms of her energy. It's amazing.
People are coming from
all over Brazil, across the world.
Really?
Yes. She has an incredible following. I think she's written over 35 books now, someone was telling me. She works with dragons, Atlantis, the archangels. Yes, she's an incredible, powerful lady. So that's going to be exciting to get to work with her.
Isn't it funny?
As well.
Like, that's a whole other world. The dragons, angels, and archangels.
Oh yeah, it's a whole other world, and she connects into that world so beautifully. And her mission, which she said she knew when she was little, was to connect with nature, with Earth, and provide healing for all humans, animals, everyone, just to make this whole planet vibrate at a higher level.
So she would have been born in the 40s or 30s.
So the interesting thing was, she was actually born, the moment she was born was the day the first bomb dropped in England.
Wow.
Yeah.
So early 40s.
Yeah. So she literally knew from the moment of her birth that she had this angelic pull that was to raise the vibration of the planet and to wrap it in
That's
love and
my
light.
goal.
Yeah,
That's your goal.
You should come meet her. Come and have. I'll be up there. You can come and have tea.
Nice.
That would be fun. Yeah. You should. That would be awesome. We'll have to set that up. Definitely. So yeah, she's coming, and she's one of my leaders that I sort of look up to. Mentors that I look up to. Yes, and then.
Are you organizing for her?
Yeah. I'm running the event, so we have almost 100 people coming from literally all over the world.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, for 2 days of workshops, and it's going to be incredibly empowering. Just in that venue, like literally the ballroom overlooking the lake.
Do you know what would be fun? I'd love to interview her.
Yeah, I'm sure she will. Oh, she loves interviewing. She's always on Zoom. She's always on the technology, so she would love that. I'm sure she would.
Do you think we could organise a face-to-face?
Yeah, I'm sure we could.
When she's in town?
Yeah. Well, you come up to Lake Louise. Come and have a road trip.
Okay.
Come and sit and let's do it in the lake. Let's do it.
That would be awesome.
That would be fun, hey?
Yeah.
Because I'm picking her up and we're going straight out to Lake Louise. So that would be awesome. So anyway, that's the event, 2nd of the and I'll put all the information on about that one.
There's room for more Calgarians to come to that.
Yeah, we'd love some Calgarians to come to that. And I'm actually doing some 1-day passes as well. So maybe you can't get away, because sometimes it's difficult to get away for 2 days. So I'm doing some tickets just for the Thursday or just for the Friday. The sound bath we just talked about is on the Friday, in the Friday afternoon.
Sound bath,
which is the crystal bowls.
Does the
on
hotel
the
know
balcony.
this?
Yeah, do you know what? We had to get permission from the Banff National Park to do it, because obviously the wildlife is protected, so they look at everything that you do in an outside space there. So we had to get approval, to do that. but it's going to be, the sound will be amazing. It'll be
Okay,
special.
I'd love to come for that.
Yeah, come. Well, that, I mean, you can just sit at the hotel and listen to it, right? So we just let people know when it is. But yeah, so we're very excited about that one. And then, Spirit and Soul event. If anyone's in, I'm doing tarot. I do a lot of events. I'm doing tarot this Sunday out at Brad Creek. We just did a healing day. I was just chatting to you. We just did an energy healing day, which is really about creating peace and calm for those individuals that are going through particular struggles in their life, whether a lot of them have struggling with cancer treatments, chemo, radiation, and just looking for some place to find quiet. So we do meditation with them, we do chanting with them, we do energy healing work in pairs with them, and we give them this beautiful organic lunch. So it's a gorgeous, and we run those once every couple of weeks, and we just charge for the lunch. It's a totally free. So there's a lot going on.
So
right?
do you do a guided meditation?
We do a guided meditation.
We should have some of my stools there.
Oh yeah. We have like the room. I'll have to show you the setup sometime. We have a lot of couches for these ladies, but all my healers at the moment are sitting on the floor, bless them, when they're doing their meditation, because we run out of space. So.
Yes.
So yeah, we could put them in a circle when they're doing their chanting and their drumming. That would be awesome. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a busy time of year for me. That's for sure.
So you're taking a little break this week?
I am taking a little break.
We got lucky.
I know. Well, lucky or synchronicity. Isn't that how you normally work? Like synchronicity. Yeah. That James just contacted me. I'm like, oh, funnily enough, I have a few days off. How interesting is that? Is it all right if I just talk about something about children? Because
yes, you said that something was coming up. Just do it.
Something has come up for me, and I really want to have this conversation.
You were saying you didn't even think this was going to happen.
No, I was driving here. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And I'm really getting this poll to talk about children with anxiety. Children that are struggling at the moment, particularly around technology. I want to tell you a little story about a client I was working with. I'm going to say she's 4 or 5. Round about that age. Anyway, her mum had been talking to her about something that's been going around the internet. I don't know whether you know about this. Do you know about Momo? Do you know what Momo is? Right, probably you've got kids, haven't you? I don't know what you know what Momo is.
He has kids.
Right, okay. So this very scary
James is here.
Creature that is on the internet. It's out there all over the internet. And this child had seen this. And the challenge when we put technology into the hands of children with the iPads and the tablets is that they go find things, right? Yeah. And
they disappear in there.
Yeah. And those children that are very sensitive, that take on the energy, take on the emotion of what they're seeing, are really struggling at the moment, really struggling. I mean, this girl was shaking, she was in shivers. So I wanted to just share with the group today, like a really simple little technique that you could do with your kids if you are finding that they are taking on things from the technology, what they're seeing, there's a lot out there, just to help them find a calm place. Because sometimes with a child that age, I mean, as I was chatting to her, she was running around the room. They're not necessarily going to sit on a stool for too long at the beginning. But let's do something fun with them that will actually get them to a place where they can, okay, that feels good, I'm going to do it again. So should we just do it for fun?
Yes,
and we'll get James to do it because he's sitting here too, so he can help it. So you start off, I might have shown you this before.
You guys
start
follow
by
along, okay?
Rubbing your hands
Rub
together.
Your hands together.
And just taking a breath.
Breath
we
brings
always
us into
start
the moment,
with the
right?
breath.
Yeah.
Always start with the breath. Okay, so just gently rub our hands together. That's perfect. Okay. And then what we're going to do is just going to open up our hands as far as we can. And then we're going to bring our hands together, and we'll reach a point where we can feel that we don't really want to move our hands any closer together. Do it quite slowly, because you're going to just feel the point. You almost can feel like a resistance. It feels as though the air is just changed. It's a little bit heavier in between your fingers. And I just want you to hold that and take another breath. And then just close your eyes for a minute. We'll close our eyes too. And start paying attention to what's happening to your fingertips. I'm feeling a column almost of energy between the palm chakras, the center of your palms now. Can you feel? And if you bounce backwards and forwards with your hands, you'll begin to feel it. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so now just opening your eyes. We're now going to do something fun. We're going to create this into a little ball. So I will say like the size, well, I would say a football, but you guys probably going to say a soccer ball. But that's a whole other discussion. We're going to make it into a ball. So visualize the sides, going around the sides, the top and the bottom. And then we're going to let this ball just sit on our hands. And this time we're actually going to give it a color. So what we're going to do to give it a color is we're going to take a breath and blow in a color. Whatever color you're feeling. Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to show you the next bit, and you can do it after I've shown you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to place this beautiful ball of energy that you've just created, which is full of love and light, into my heart. So I do this by taking a breath. I'm putting my hands, curling my hands, I'm pushing it over my heart. I'm going to mess up my radio mic probably. And then close my eyes, bringing my shoulders down, and do it in your own time. And as you're closing your eyes, paying attention to that ball, feel it, sense it, or just know that it's bouncing around inside of you. Up into your shoulders, around your heart, into your lungs, down into your tummy, all the way down into your hips, up and down your back. And watch now as it bounces all the way from your spine, all the way up through your neck and into your head. And what this ball of energy is doing is it's clearing your whole energetic field. So for the child, if we're talking to a child, we'd be saying, this is making the insides feel good. This is bringing you beautiful sense of calm and peace. Whatever color that ball is, visualize that ball and it bouncing around and clearing, taking away thoughts and anxieties and worry, stress and anger. Letting it take all of those into the ball. I'm using your breath, bouncing all the way down to your legs, your knees, and down into your toes. And letting it go. And just shaking our hands and relaxing. So this is a fun thing to do with kids. And you can create a ball, or maybe they might be more into cotton candy. So you could pretend that you could stretch it, and you can throw that ball against the room and make your room a beautiful, calm, pink sanctuary by just stretching it down the room. Children don't necessarily need to say, this is what I'm doing, but by doing the actions, they will understand the impact of what they were doing.
Nice.
Especially if they wrap their room in it. They'll sleep better, they'll be calmer, and any thoughts that have been going around in their head will dissolve.
I find that what you just did was a practice to bring people present. Mm-hmm. It really does bring us into the moment. That was a great exercise.
It's a little bit of fun. It's a little bit of fun. And with
Very
children,
simple.
It's finding the language, because they know what they should be doing, but it's finding a way to connect with them that necessarily isn't in the language that we would use as adults.
I'm going to make sure my daughter watches this. She has 5-year-old twins.
Ah, okay.
And what a great exercise for 5-year-old twins.
5-year-old twins to do, yeah. And you can sit in your room and you can make cotton candy together, and then you can throw it at the wall and make it stick. And what they're doing is using their energy.
I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Mine was red.
Yeah, there you go.
What
red.
color was yours?
Yeah, pink. Mine is always
No.
pink. I know, right? I wear the color that I'm feeling on the day. So I'm in the day of heart.
What color
love and
was yours,
compassion.
James?
Red.
Red.
Red. Wow.
Okay. There you go.
A couple of red guys.
Red strong. Well, red is all about releasing and letting go, right? When we think of the color red, we think root chakra. So again, when interesting to ask the child afterwards what color it was, right? Because that's going to tell you a lot about what's going on with them as well. Like red is the release of anger and frustration and stress and forgiveness. That's when we think of red, right? Pink is compassion. Blue is all about I want to speak out more. I want to talk more. I want to communicate more. Blue. So the colors that the child picks is also interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. So
You are such a resource. Of,
so many things in his head.
Honestly. Well, isn't it great? Because everything that's in that head is everything that is, period.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all available to us.
You're so right. When you connect, when you find yourself meditating, as I'm sure you're now in the practice, you understand what I mean. When you connect in with source, divine, whatever word you're comfortable using, you find that you can access all knowledge, all wisdom, all that there is.
Mm-hmm.
It's all there. Mm-hmm. It's just choosing to filter it through your physical.
Was it in the Christian faith they said everything that is, was, or ever will be is now? And
absolutely.
And there is only now.
Yeah.
So
There is only
now
this
means
moment.
and this is where the coaching I do a lot is helping people to recognize when they're not here.
Yeah.
So that they can be here.
be present.
Awakening
Yeah.
is not some mystical thing.
No.
It But I always thought it was. I thought it was like, I had to be a real sage or a guru of some sort, to, those are both teachers, but, to awaken. And awakening is being here.
Is being present, because knowing that we have this soul, this spirit in all of us, which is the same soul, hence the word namaste. I see the God in you, you see the God in me. What's inside of us is all the same. We are all spiritual beings, just happening to be in a physical presence. And all that doubt and uncertainty and I shouldn't be a guru, whatever it might be, just sits in our ego, in that conscious mind that is conditioned, right? From the age of when you went off to school at 5 years old, you were taught to be a certain way, to compete against the others.
And
in
our
the
limited
class.
Beliefs came from our mom.
Absolutely, from the environment that we were in. And now we're beginning, through connecting in, seeing this amazing resource that we can be strong and peaceful, powerful and calm. We can channel all of this emotion that's part and aspect of us inside this physical body and mind.
Again, the Christian teachings, Jesus said that we could do all the things that he did.
Yes.
And what a great teaching that was. That was a kind of a mystical teaching, but he basically said that his presence, when he was present, he could heal.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're doing that.
That's what when you connect in and feel and sense and know all of these parts of you and aspects of you that are this spiritual body, you begin to realize that there is so much more.
Yes.
So much more that's inside of us.
That's exciting.
And there are wise teachers such as Jesus and Buddha that have walked this earth and are trying to show us this path, and I would say John Lennon is just as inspiring as Jesus. There are many wise souls that have come here to help us to understand this.
Some of them were disruptors.
Yeah, some of them were, and they had this message to enable us to see, see who we truly were. So,
do you know what I love
powerful.
Watching lately is Russell Brand. I'm a big Russell Brand fan because he has such great interviews. He's bringing such inspirational people to, so that people can see them. And last night, I forget the guy who's interviewing. But he interviewed this guy, an English guy, who's an intellect for sure, but had such a spiritual story.
Right.
Sorry, I can't remember his name, but anyway, I like watching.
Not Jonathan Ross.
No.
Okay, because he's one of the.
Have you watched any Russell stuff?
Oh yeah. Russell Brand for a long time. Yeah.
Such
an
a
interesting story.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there are those. Yeah, that are trying to get the message across to them. And I know you mentioned like Jim Carrey, didn't you, before? Because he's another one who's
awakened.
Who's awakened and found this part of themselves and start connecting in. But we all have that. I think that's the point, isn't it? And through finding moments of listening, then there's so much wisdom there. I mean, for all of those of you who've got young children out there, those moments when you catch your child saying something so profound and you're like, oh my goodness, how did that get there? It's a sign that they're showing you the wisdom that sits in all of our souls when we actually listen and voice. And sometimes we're scared to voice it. I think that's another challenge. And we need to speak up more and be present of who we really are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So if you've got questions, we should have said that. If you've got questions,
I did say it in my type.
Okay.
When I
yes.
typed in
do
the
ask
information.
Us as well.
Anything.
If there's anything coming up.
You know that Rhona also. Is it fair to say that you do psychic work?
I do. Yeah, I was trained as a medium. That's my background. Is a traditional, what we call traditional channeled medium.
You have an amazing story. You came to this country with very little.
Yeah, I do have an amazing story. Actually, I mean, my story started before that because I was actually adopted.
Yes.
So I never actually connected with my birth family. And what's interesting, when you talk to a lot of mediums, you'll find they have a similar story. Either somehow that a parent has died or they've been brought up in a family which isn't theirs. And I remember, like, why is that? Why do we? And what I was told, if you like, was that when you're brought up in difficult family situations or in places where you can't just look at someone and say, that's me, you find an internal resource because you have to figure it out, right? So as a young child, I had to figure out who was it I wanted to be, because I couldn't look at a mama and dad and say, oh, I look like them, or I've got this personality, or my sister. very, very different. So, and I've talked to many mediums about this and those that do this sort of work, and they've had similar stories, right? Because you've had to find this inner self. Well, who am I then? So I've got to figure this out for myself. Who do I want to be? What do I want to stand for? What are my values? And it creates this internal strength, which is very common. So that's and then very 3 years ago now, I actually found my birth parents, which is an exciting story. Do you want to hear that? I don't know if you've got time for this.
Oh, of course,
I have lots of stories.
Yeah.
My sister, very tragically, my adopted sister, very tragically passed away. She struggled with alcoholism her whole life from the age of 14, and passed away very suddenly. So, so I'd gone home, obviously, to make the arrangements for her. And while I was there, my dad, who passed away previously, likes to talk to me all the time, and he said, the time that I'm going to show you where the adoption papers are. And my dad passed away 14 years ago. In my head, he's talking to me, literally like here, and I'm like, really? Like, my sister's just died. What are you talking to me about now? I said, no, I'm going to tell you. So he told me exactly where the papers were in my parents' house, my mum's house. Exactly, they were in a bureau, they were this shelf, this. So I went exactly where he told me to go, and I found my papers. I found my real name, I found my real last name, all there, all in a stack of papers. So flew back to Calgary that night. Beauty of Facebook, I went onto Facebook, I went through ancestry.co.uk, and I found out, fortunately my last name was very unusual, and I found my birth family. And I messaged on Facebook my aunt, who I found at that time, saying, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that I'm your niece, and because I didn't want to connect necessarily with my mum, because I didn't know whether she might want to necessarily receive me, right? It's a difficult situation. So anyway, I messaged it and I sent it out, and I just crossed my fingers and said to my guides, well, if this is meant to be, it's meant to be. And she didn't reply straight. This is like midnight Calgary time, so like 8 in the morning. And then she didn't reply, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And then suddenly the message popped up, and she said, we are so delighted. We've been waiting for this day for so long to hear from you. And they actually lived 5 miles away from my house.
Wow.
Yeah, and still do to this day. So they came over. Yeah, it was pretty emotional. We had
I feel it.
a pretty emotional day. We went for afternoon tea, and I met my mum, my half-sister, my aunt, and then they came out to Canada, which we were covered on CTV, actually, because they arrived on Family Day. And Alicia Fieldberg came out and did a story with us. So I put the clip on that, and you could see that, actually. But it was the timing is right. When things are meant to happen, when everything is aligned, your story will be unveiled to you. So I thought that was a fun story to share with everyone. Of meeting my birth family. And, it's pretty crazy.
How old were you when you decided to come to Canada?
I was in my 30s when I came over here with 2 little kids.
So you've had a whole life already?
Yeah.
And a career probably? And
I was vice president of sales and marketing for a company called British Telecom, which is a big technology company.
Yes,
and I worked there, and I ran all the sales, service and marketing teams, and was like, don't want to do this, because we were chatting before. I would be taking my team and doing meditations at lunch, and talking to them about how they were doing, because coaching is in my sort of DNA, I think. Just found that it wasn't the life that I knew I needed to live, and also I felt my children needed to be, especially my younger one, needed to be somewhere else to fulfill his potential. He was only 8 at the time, and now he's doing his master's in looking at ways to treat drug addiction, opioid addiction, because he knew from like 15, he wrote a letter saying, this is what I'm going to do, this is my path. And he knew that, and I knew that from a very young age.
The fellow who goes to Shambhala?
Yes.
I'd love to meet him.
He does drug testing and all of that stuff. So he's what I call my incarnated wizard child. If any of you out there have those children, then
what's his name?
Scott.
Scott the Wizard.
Scott the Wizard. He calls himself Scott. He's known as Little Bear. Little Bear is his name. He says, So you'll see him out there on the musical festival.
Could be.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. That community is very small, and I know we've come across mutual friends before in our lives. Yeah, I took him to his first learning about shamanism class when he was 16, and it's
so where's he
amazing.
studying?
He's studying at UBC out in Vancouver. He's
Nice.
doing his master's there, and it's the only place actually in the world that is doing the research, the advanced research that's needed to figure out, because what we're doing isn't working. Substituting one addiction for another addiction, methadone, heroin to methadone.
That part of it is no. I mean,
then he's looking at other treatments of how to change that. Yeah.
The part of the recovery that I'm involved with the 12-step program does work.
Yeah. Yes. The therapy. Yeah.
It does work, and it's not really therapy. It's spiritually based.
Yes.
And it, we have a huge psychic change.
Yeah.
And basically the addict goes from being a taker.
Yeah.
To being a giver.
Yes.
And
Which is amazing.
Yes, it is, and that's the basis of the program is that we go to work for this higher power, if you will. It's the concept of God and the idea of going to work for this higher power, and we commit our lives to working and helping others and
being of service.
And guess what? When I'm not focused on me, magic happens, and just like you, I mean, your life is a life of service.
Yes.
And amazing things can happen if
we
we're
let
serving.
ourselves. And like you, I think we both share the mission of building communities. Right?
Yes.
Of connection and building tribes, and
So,
that is so important.
I like the whole idea. I mean, I know you see clients on a regular basis. The whole idea of doing weekend workshops and doing longer time workshops so that people can wake up to their story.
Yes.
So that they can wake up to their potential.
Yes.
And you've gone so far as to actually buy a center.
Well, we're just in the process. So I should share that we're just in the process of purchasing something out on the island.
Wow.
My husband will be, we haven't finished yet, don't say that. But we're in the process. There are definitely some things, but that I know is a goal, is to build something out on Vancouver
everybody's
Island.
Absolutely in support of you doing this.
Yeah. And when you put things out there, and then that's the process. And
then people will be able to come and
yes, and spend time healing, getting validation for who they are. I work with a lot of those clients that are in very difficult places in their lives, with terminal illnesses, and cancer, and
sometimes our story has created those things.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's any victims.
No.
And I just don't. I think that though often we, me included, have wanted to hold on to a victim story because there was a payoff. It was like, I get to be poor me, right? But no matter what's happening, there's an opportunity in it to become more, to wake up,
to be more present. And the way I describe it is that over time we've lost our sense of knowledge of our physical abilities and emotional abilities to heal ourselves.
Yes.
And to be present with what's going on in our physical body. And that is a part of the society we live in, where if we need to be healed, we go to a doctor. We go to something external to fix us, right?
Yeah.
And we stop paying attention to intuitively what's going on and what we feel and sense. And to me, part of my job is to reconnect you back with that knowing.
Yeah.
Going and visualizing the body, going into the cells.
But if we know, then there's responsibility.
Yeah.
There's like, so I have some responsibility here. This didn't just happen to me.
Yeah.
And
I can take control of it.
Yes.
Because if once you realize that, then you can start managing and visualizing whatever is going on in your body, whether it be with tumors or growths or whatever the condition is. Tune in to every single one of our cells has its own little DNA and its own ability, its own little brain almost. So if you through meditation can tune in to that part of your physical, yourself, look what changes you can happen, right?
I know.
To your body.
Yeah.
So
look at me, I'm 85. And I look 60.
Amazing. Yeah. So that's one of the gifts that I know that, and I know you talked to Pam Pennell as well from the Healing Tree, and I did some medical intuitive work with her. Is that
she great?
I can help them. Yeah. I help people by looking into their bodies and showing them where things are. So where is this tumor?
Yep.
I'll help you locate it, and let's just focus on that and clear it. So
talk to it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love is the healing, isn't it?
And letting it go. If things are stored in there, letting it go, right?
Yeah.
As well.
And energy from our old story.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I'm a big fan of Dr. David Hawkins.
Yes.
Hawkins does talk a bit about karma.
Yeah.
So there is the karma possibility as well in some of what's going on, and you know, I don't necessarily understand all about karma, but I do know that there's that possibility that something can happen in this life that is related to karma or past incarnations, and just because it's not that popular to talk about or believe in past incarnations doesn't mean that they don't happen.
Yeah.
But with the karmic thing, sometimes we just have to be with it, right, and feel it as it passes through, and love it, and surrender.
And acknowledge it and let it move on. One thing, that's an interesting question, because one of the things I often find with clients is, I'll ask them the question, are the same things happening to you over and over again? Right, those that have gone through a difficult relationship or a different marriage. And if those are patterns, are you responding in the same way every time? Because the chances are that's something you're here to learn, and that's something you're here to shift and to change your reaction to what is happening. Yeah? So paying attention to the patterns and knowing that you can change it, right? And you have the ability to respond in a different way. Yeah, because guess what? That's probably why you're here. Because if we mentioned about past lives, but imagine you've had 100+ lives. In each life, you are aiming to get closer to that experience of love and light. So you're aiming to get it right, if you want to use that terminology. So paying attention to how you're responding to experiences is part of that journey.
Sure. So being conscious.
Yeah, being conscious.
Being conscious
and aware of
what's happening.
And change your response. We can't. We don't focus on the outcome, and we don't focus on the other party, because they're also on their spiritual journey. What we can focus is on how we're responding to what's happening.
So one of the things that I encourage people is what I call lifelong learning.
Right.
And reading the works of the masters. I mean, how do we become conscious if we haven't studied enough to have a language for things? You know, and there's a huge opportunity. I mean, everything's available online.
Absolutely.
All the books that have ever been written are available online. And so we can you know, I think if we, first of all, if we check in with spirit or higher consciousness, and say, okay, what should I read next? And ask what's, you know, and the books come to us.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
often I'll go onto the shelves in chapters, whatever, and I just literally just run my hand along the shelf.
Yes.
Which one is tingling? Which one is tingling, and which one is calling me to read? And sometimes you'll read books that, like, I don't know why this doesn't resonate with me. That's okay too, because you have to figure out which ones don't resonate with you as well as the ones that do resonate, right? Because each of us has a what I call an energy code, a way of just interpreting information which is just easier for our soul type based on our experiences. And that's what you're saying is what we're figuring out. Oh, this is the type of.
And then as we grow, because we do with here we are reading the works of the masters often, and we grow, then we can be more conscious of our patterns, of our story, of our, you know, and be more responsible. We actually mature.
Absolutely.
There's the possibility to mature in this lifetime.
More. And learn more. And also be aware, the other question, we talked about patterns, the other thing I would like just for the viewers to think about is, what contracts have you signed up for in this life, right? What are the contracts? Contracts, and there's a great book by a lady called Caroline Myss called Sacred Contracts who talks about this. What are the things that you've signed up in this life to do? And they can be contracts with people. They can be to do with your family and your children. But have a moment. What are those key moments? And when you think of contracts, what are the things that come straight into your head, right? Don't overthink it. What are the things that come to you? One of my contracts was to be there the moment my father passed away, because I knew the date he was going to pass. I knew I needed to be there, and I knew doing that was my contract with him. And we all have these contracts, right, with us. And becoming conscious of those and acknowledging that if we've completed them, I've completed that, I can move on.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice
thinking about contracts.
Concept. That's a nice idea of how, we get to deal with things or be part of things in our lives. Good for you.
Yeah,
I like
but
that.
I would say, with what you're doing with Project Awakening, that's a contract you signed up for, right?
It's a mission. Yes, it's like...
so the big tick, this is something I'm putting
we're in
out
it,
there.
but I want you to know I resisted.
Yeah, of course. Well, we do, because they're not normally pleasant things to do. I can tell you, I had a hairdressing appointment today. I'm not going to see my dad. I've got something else to do. We resist.
Yeah.
That's when we know it's a real contract.
we did. And it's, but what's happened with the Project Awakening, and I thought I was going to be in the business of selling or creating meditation spaces, right? And now it's actually evolved into this speaking thing, and into teaching meditation, having groups, and I didn't imagine that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think so, but it is evolving into that, and yes, I think we will help literally millions of people create meditation spaces.
Yeah,
yes, I think
sure
we
you
will,
too.
but it'll come with this message of awakening.
Yeah.
And this message of being present. And I teach, can I tell you a couple of things? Just, my 4 points. One is meditation, brings us into the moment.
Yeah.
Gratitude brings us into the moment, really. And meditation and prayer are kind of together. I find that prayer, however we conceive that we're praying, actually brings us present.
Yeah.
There's generally some humility with that, and pride gets set aside, and we say, for me, my prayers generally are show me what you'd have me to be or do, in each moment, and to guide me and strengthen me, and those are, my simple prayer. And
beautiful.
And then, so gratitude, meditation, prayer, lifelong learning, and service.
Beautiful. Oh, I love
or
that.
like
That's
the
beautiful.
pillars of my message, and service is, how can I make a difference?
Yes, how can I make a difference?
And sometimes if we ask that in a prayer, it'll be shown to us.
Yes, because if we don't attach to the outcome, don't be attached to the just putting the message out there, not how it appears, just putting the message out there.
Yeah, we plant the seed, we're not necessarily there to reap the, to sow. I just finished again for the millionth time the Bhagavad Gita.
Right,
which is Stephen Mitchell wrote a translation recently of the Bhagavad Gita, and it's so good. You guys, you gotta get into the Bhagavad Gita. As a matter of fact, as soon as I finish, I'm reading online.
Right, okay.
Not Eckhart Tolle. I'm finishing David Hawkins' book.
Oh, right,
Letting Go.
Yeah.
And as soon as we're finished that, I think I'm going to sit down and read
the translation.
Of the Bhagavad Gita for our group, and do it online. And probably I'll do it like in a week. Like I'll do the whole thing in 1 week as opposed to taking 3 months. So there'll be some long readings of the Bhagavad Gita, and I feel kind of like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing teaching.
It is incredible. It is incredible. And when you're reading a book, one thing I was going to suggest to you as well is reading from the heart. We often over-intellectualize, we overthink things in this mind. Our conscious mind is not always able to cope and connect with all of ourselves, all of our being, of our consciousness, because of its conditioning. So when you're reading, read from your heart. Right? Take your breath and start the reading from your heart.
Nice. So when I'm reading to myself or to my
to your audience.
Thank you.
And the 4 points that you just made as well, a way of strengthening. Just sort of putting your hand over your heart for a minute. I'm going to mess up my microphone. And taking a breath. And I want you just to say to yourself, and say out loud actually to us, say, I am a healer.
I am a healer.
And let that sit with you. I am grace.
I am grace.
I am love.
I am love.
And I am light.
I am light.
Beautiful. And just let it go. Yeah?
Thank you.
Because what you're doing is you're connecting in with all aspects of yourself now. So now you are truly embodying all that you are doing in your work.
Yeah, wow, I feel different.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. We should probably leave it, I should imagine. They're probably already had enough of us.
Thanks, you guys, for watching, and we love you. And it's really clear to me that Rhona's work is work of the heart, work of the healing, light work. You know, she just shared that, and it's, you know, what you just did. You can't do unless it's really in you, and so she has that in her. And I encourage you to, if you have anything you want to talk to Rhona about, get in touch with her. I think you know, you can do it through Facebook or
I can always put my page details on there. I know I'm booking into like mid-May at the moment, so I do apologise because my calendar's been crazy.
She's a busy woman, which is awesome. A busy healer, and we have meditation here on Monday nights. If you'd like to come by and sit with us Monday at 6:30 here in the shop, and it's been growing. It's crazy how many beautiful people are coming. And I want to mention Amy Thiessen's coming to sing on the 5th of April, and that's going to be awesome. And next week we're going to interview some of the performers from Cirque de Nuit. From which is an event coming on the 6th of April, and
that'll be fun.
It will be fun. Yes, yeah,
very cool.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I've just been in touch with Dr. John DiMartini. We're going to interview him when he comes to town, which I'm really looking forward to. Do you know John? Have you ever heard of him?
I've heard of him for sure. Yeah.
He's really cool. He's a friend of mine. I've known John for a long
really
time,
cool.
and so we'll get some great stuff coming up. Love you guys. Love you, and just, you know, be the love and recognize that no matter what's happening in your life, if you take a breath, give thanks, be here now, it just evaporates. You know, it's beautiful. And thank you. Love you lots.
Beautiful message. Namaste.